Hi friends, it's Miss Coffee, and today we're gonna do a science experiment. We've been talking about bears recently in our unit, and so I thought it'd be fun to do an experiment with a couple of bears. But do you think I have real bears in my house? No way, that would be too scary. So we are going to do a science experiment with these bears. Gummy bears, yum. Today, we're gonna see what happens when we put one gummy bear inside water and one gummy bear inside salt water. So if you wanna do this experiment with me, you're gonna need a couple of things. First, you're gonna need some gummy bears. Second thing, you're gonna need some water. I'm gonna test it with half a cup of water. And third, you're gonna need some salt. So the first thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna decide which bear is gonna have salt water and which bear is gonna have regular water. So I've color coordinated mine. I've written water and salt. And you can see I drew a little gummy bear. I only have two. So when this experiment's over and we wanna see if it got bigger or smaller or stayed the same, we need something to compare it to. So I went ahead and traced my bear on my paper. But if you have an extra gummy bear to compare it to, you don't have to draw it. You can just use that gummy bear to see. So let's try the water first. So water is green, so I'm gonna get my green gummy bear. And I'm gonna show you guys in a different angle so that you can actually see. So now you can see the top cup is gonna have just water in it and the bottom cup is gonna have salt in it. And you can see my little bears that I drew so we can kind of compare as we go. So the first thing we need to do is get our bears. You can see they fit right in my little drawings so we can see how big they were from the beginning. You're gonna wanna put them in the right cup. Red with red, green with green. Then I have measured out already a half a cup of water and it's warm. So we're gonna go ahead and pour that into one of our cups. Make sure you don't spill it. And then we're just gonna watch and see what happens. And you can guess, see if you think this is gonna get bigger, smaller, or stay the same. And you can maybe write it on your paper to the side. That way later on you can see if you were right. For our second bear, it says we need salt. So we have to do an extra little step and measure out the salt. So, I have my measuring spoon here. I'm gonna do 1 tablespoon of salt. I'm gonna go ahead and get my salt ready. Again, make sure you have a steady hand so you don't spill it. Looks like a lot of salt, oh my goodness. All right, and then let's count to 3 and I'm gonna pour it on this bear. Ready? 1, 2, 3. You almost can't even see him anymore. And then we have one more thing to add, and that's our water. So again, you're gonna wanna measure out a half a cup of warm water. And we're just gonna pour it in. Let's count to 3 again. Ready? 1, 2, 3. And now all the water is in there. If you want, you can stir the salt water. We can give it a little stir. I'm gonna get my spoon back out, mix it up a little bit. That one's pretty hard to see. Maybe once the salt settles, we'll be able to see our bear a little bit better. So now we just wait. Now we're just gonna wait about an hour and then we're gonna come back and see if it's gotten any bigger, any smaller, or if it stayed the same. And you can use these little drawings as your reference. All right, so I'll be back in an hour and we're gonna take a peek. Oh, actually, before we do that, Miss Coffee said that we can decide if we think it's gonna get bigger, smaller, or stay the same. So for salt, do we think that bear is gonna get bigger in the water with salt, smaller, or stay the same? I want you to go ahead and think out loud, tell your adult or tell yourself, or write it on a piece of paper, have somebody write it for you, if what you think might happen. So, and then you're gonna do the same for your water bear also. Miss Coffee thinks that the salt bear, will it get bigger, smaller, or stay the same? Touch your brain. You can't see me, but Miss Coffee's touching her brain. And I'm thinking that with salt and water, this bear will, let's say, get smaller. So I'm gonna write smaller on my paper. S-M-A-L-L-E-R, smaller. If you think it's gonna get bigger, that's okay. We're gonna have to see what happens at the end. And then I'm gonna do the same thing for my top bear. Touch your brain and think, will it get bigger, smaller, or stay the same? I think this one will stay the same. What do you think? Stay same. So then we'll come back in an hour and we'll see if we were right or wrong. And if we're wrong, that's okay. That means we learned something. All right, I'll see you guys in an hour. Okay, now that we're back, we are going to see the results. I actually let it sit overnight, so it was much longer than an hour. It was a couple of hours, but we're gonna go ahead and take them out and see the results and compare to see if they're bigger, smaller, or if they stayed the same. I have a paper towel over here because I'm gonna pull them out of the water, dry them off a bit, and then set them next to my pretend gummy bear to see if it got bigger, smaller, or stay the same. And remember, we're checking to see if our hypothesis or our guess was right. Remember, Miss Coffee thought maybe the salt would get smaller, and in water, it'll stay the same. So let's see what happens. You can either use your fingers to pull them out, or you could use a spoon. I'm gonna go ahead and use a spoon and take them out. We're gonna start with salt. I'm gonna dab it on my paper towel a little bit. All right, and let's see, he's slimy. And there is our gummy bear. They actually look pretty similar to me. It looks like he got a little smaller, not too much though. He still fits right in my drawing. So he pretty much stayed the same. So let me get a pen. And we're gonna mark through my guess because I was wrong. And that's okay, sometimes we're wrong and there is nothing wrong with that. This gummy bear stayed the same. Now let's check the green one that we left in the water. He looks pretty small in the cup. So but then look how big he looks when you take him out of the water. That's definitely a difference. So I'm gonna dry him off, pick him up. He's super slimy. Let's see. Whoa, he got pretty big. It's a little difficult to see on here. Let's see. Oh. But he got pretty big. Let's look at him from the side. See how much taller he is now. Let's actually put the red one. Let's put them all together. So you can see the green one is much bigger than our little red one. So we need to go ahead and mark that stay the same was also wrong because the green one got a lot bigger. So if it's in, let's see, if it's in salt water, it'll stay the same, maybe get a little smaller, but mostly stay the same. And if we put it in our water, he gets a lot bigger, a lot squishier. I don't recommend eating them. Maybe, oh, he fell apart. So I don't recommend eating them. This one's gonna taste really salty, which will be kind of gross, and this one is hard to pick up because he just falls right apart. But that was a super fun experiment, and thanks for joining me, guys. Bye.